Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be exploring a really interesting aspect of financial wellness, the idea that our family histories can actually shape our financial behaviors.
Yeah, it's like we inherit a financial blueprint from our families, complete with, ingrained beliefs and habits that can influence everything from our spending patterns to our comfort level with investing.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So how do we uncover this hidden financial legacy?
One powerful tool is the financial genogram. It's kind of like a family tree, but instead of just names and dates, we map out financial beliefs, habits, and even traumas that have been passed down through generations.
So we're not just looking at who inherited grandma's china, but who inherited grandpa's fear of debt.
Precisely. Those unspoken money messages can have a profound impact on our financial choices, even if we're not consciously aware of them.
To make this more concrete, let's talk about Ellis. Ellis is a hardworking husband and father who's been feeling a little stuck financially.
He recently had a loan application denied and is, experiencing that all too familiar feeling of financial inadequacy.
So Ellis is feeling like he's not measuring up, and this financial setback is really hitting him hard.
That's where the financial genogram can be so insightful. By mapping out Ellis's family history, we start to see these recurring patterns that kind of shed light on his present-day struggles.
Okay, let's dive into Ellis's genogram. What can we learn from his family's financial past?
Well, on his father's side, there's a strong emphasis on hard work, but also a tendency for overspending and keeping money secrets.
That's interesting. It's like hard work is valued, but maybe not paired with wise financial management.
Exactly. There's a disconnect between earning and managing money. We also see a history of financial instability, unpaid bills, even a fear of banks.
So these anxieties about money, whether spoken or unspoken, are being passed down through the generations, even if Ellis isn't fully aware of it.
You got it. These patterns often operate on an unconscious level. Now, on his mother's side, we see incredible resilience. These were women who knew how to make ends meet and prioritize family needs.
But did they also pass down any potentially limiting beliefs about money?
Yeah, there's a sense of limited opportunity and a lack of financial voice. Like,
Yeah.
money was something to be managed, but not necessarily controlled or grown.
So we're seeing a mixed bag of messages here. On one hand, hard work is emphasized, but on the other hand, there's this underlying fear of financial instability and a sense of limited agency.
It's a complex tapestry of beliefs and experiences that have shaped Ellis's relationship with money.
And this is where it gets fascinating. By creating this financial genogram, Ellis has a real aha moment. He starts to connect the dots between his deep-seated fears of financial instability and the patterns he witnessed growing up.
Awareness is truly the first step towards change. It allows Ellis to recognize that these deeply ingrained patterns are not his fault, but rather a product of his family history.
So instead of blaming himself or feeling trapped by these beliefs, he can start to understand where they came from and take steps to break free.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we don't have to be defined by our financial past. We have the power to choose a different path.
This makes me think, could someone end up with an aversion to risk-taking based on their grandparents' experiences during an economic downturn, for example?
That's a great example. We often underestimate the long-lasting impact that historical events and family narratives can have on our financial psychology.
And this is where the financial genogram becomes such a valuable tool. It helps us uncover those hidden connections between our family history and our present-day financial behaviors.
It's about understanding that our financial lives are not just about numbers and spreadsheets. They're deeply intertwined with our emotional history, with the stories we've inherited about money, wealth, and scarcity.
So it's not just about how much money you make, but how you feel about money. And those feelings are often rooted in our family's experiences.
Precisely. Financial therapy emphasizes that those emotional undercurrents can be just as important as budgeting skills or, investment strategies.
I'm realizing that Ellis's case isn't unique. This idea of inherited financial beliefs is probably relevant to a lot of people. It makes me wonder about my own family's money messages and how they've shaped my financial choices, even subconsciously.
That's the beauty of the financial genogram. It's a tool for self-discovery that can be incredibly empowering.
So it's not just about analyzing our family's financial past. It's about using that knowledge to make more conscious and informed decisions about our financial future.
Absolutely. It's about breaking free from limiting beliefs and creating a healthier, more fulfilling relationship with money.
So we've been talking about these financial blueprints that we inherit from our families. And I'm really curious to delve into some specific examples. What are some common financial archetypes or patterns that you've observed?
Well, one common archetype is the saver, often someone who, grew up witnessing financial hardship or instability.
So maybe their parents lived through the Great Depression or experienced uh, like a job loss that really impacted the family.
Exactly. Those experiences can create a deep-seated fear of scarcity and a strong urge to, save and hoard resources.
So these savers are like hyper vigilant about financial security, always preparing for a rainy day.
Absolutely. They tend to be very risk averse and might even, miss out on opportunities because they're so focused on preserving what they have.
It's almost like they're stuck in that survival mode we were talking about earlier. Saving becomes less about building wealth and more about, warding off potential threats.
That's a great insight. And it highlights how these inherited beliefs can sometimes hold us back from achieving our full financial potential. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the spender.
I have a feeling I know this one. Always living in the moment, maybe a little too impulsive with purchases.
You got it. Spenders often come from families where money was either, plentiful or used as a way to express love and affection.
So maybe their parents showered them with gifts or used shopping sprees as a way to cope with stress or, celebrate milestones.
Precisely. And those patterns can lead to an association between spending and positive emotions, making it, difficult to control impulses.
I see how that could create a cycle of instant gratification and maybe even lead to debt if spending gets out of hand.
That's a common challenge for spenders. They often struggle with delayed gratification and might prioritize immediate pleasure over long-term financial goals.
Now, I'm guessing there's a middle ground here. What about those of us who are somewhere between a saver and a spender?
Absolutely. There are many variations and nuances to these archetypes. Some people might identify as balanced spenders who enjoy spending but also prioritize, saving and financial stability.
So they find that sweet spot between enjoying life's pleasures and planning for the future.
Exactly. And then we have those who might fall into the category of worried wealth builders.
That sounds intriguing. Who are these worried wealth builders?
These are individuals who are often, successful in accumulating wealth, but are constantly anxious about losing it.
So maybe they come from families where money was equated with power and status, but there was also an underlying fear of losing that position.
That's a common theme. They might have witnessed financial ups and downs or received messages about the fragility of wealth.
So even though they're financially secure, they never truly feel comfortable or at ease with their money.
They might constantly check their investments, obsess over every expense, and struggle to enjoy their financial success.
It's almost like they're carrying the weight of their family's financial history on their shoulders.
It can be a heavy burden to bear. And it highlights how our relationship with money is about so much more than just the numbers in our bank account.
It's about our emotional well-being, our sense of security, and even our identity.
Precisely. And that's why understanding these financial archetypes and the messages we've inherited can be so transformative.
It helps us see those patterns that might be driving our behaviors and make more conscious choices about how we manage our money.
It's about taking control of our financial narratives and creating a future that aligns with our values and aspirations.
Thinking back to Ellis, I'm curious, where would you place him on this spectrum of financial archetypes?
Based on his family history and current struggles, I'd say Ellis leans towards the worried wealth builder archetype. He's working hard and striving for, financial stability, but those deep-seated fears of scarcity are holding him back from fully embracing abundance.
That makes sense. He's caught in this cycle of working hard to accumulate wealth, but never quite feeling secure or comfortable with what he has.
And those anxieties are rooted in his family history. He's carrying the weight of his father's overspending and his mother's sense of limited opportunity.
It's like he's inherited these conflicting messages about work hard, but don't expect too much, strive for success, but be prepared for things to fall apart.
Exactly. And those messages are playing out in his current financial behaviors. He's operating in survival mode, focused on avoiding loss rather than, pursuing growth.
It's like he's driving with the emergency brake on, always anticipating a financial crash, even though he's making progress.
That's a powerful analogy. And it highlights why the financial genogram can be such a valuable tool for self-awareness.
By identifying those inherited beliefs and patterns, Ellis can start to challenge them and create a new narrative for himself.
He can shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, one where he feels empowered to, make choices that support his long-term financial well-being.
So instead of constantly worrying about what might go wrong, he can start focusing on what he wants to create in his financial life.
And that shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating. It allows us to move beyond fear and embrace the possibilities that are, available to us.
This has been so insightful. I'm realizing that these financial archetypes aren't just abstract concepts. They're real-life patterns that play out in our daily choices and behaviors.
And by recognizing those patterns, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship with money.
It's like holding up a mirror to our financial past and seeing how those experiences have shaped who we are today.
But it's not just about looking backward. It's about using that knowledge to make more conscious choices moving forward.
So it's not about blaming our families or feeling trapped by our past. It's about taking ownership of our financial narratives and creating a future that aligns with our values and aspirations.
It's about rewriting those financial blueprints and creating a legacy of financial well-being for ourselves and for future generations.
This brings me back to something we touched on earlier, the emotional side of money. I'm wondering if you could expand on that a bit more.
Of course. As I mentioned, financial therapy acknowledges that our emotions play a huge role in how we handle money. We can't separate our feelings from our finances.
It's like when you're stressed or anxious, you might make impulsive purchases or, avoid looking at your bank statements altogether. Those emotions can really hijack our financial decision-making.
That's a common experience, and it's because our brains are wired to prioritize emotional responses, especially when it comes to, perceived threats like financial instability.
So even if we have a good understanding of personal finance, our emotions can sometimes override that logical thinking.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to develop healthy coping mechanisms for dealing with financial stress.
So what are some effective ways to manage those emotional undercurrents when it comes to, money?
Well, one important step is simply, acknowledging and validating those emotions. Don't judge yourself for feeling anxious or overwhelmed. It's a natural human response to financial challenges.
So give yourself permission to feel those feelings without letting them control you.
Precisely. And then, find healthy outlets for expressing those emotions. Talk to a trusted friend. Engage in a relaxing activity or seek professional support from a therapist or financial counselor.
It's like having a toolbox of coping strategies that you can access when those financial anxieties start to creep in.
That's a great analogy. And remember that taking care of your emotional well-being is an investment in your financial well-being. When you're feeling grounded and centered, you're more likely to make, sound financial decisions.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're neglecting your emotional needs, it's going to be difficult to, manage your finances effectively.
Absolutely. And another important strategy is to, challenge negative self-talk. If you're constantly beating yourself up about past financial mistakes or feeling like you're not good with money, those beliefs will only perpetuate the cycle.
So instead of dwelling on those negative thoughts, try to, reframe them in a more positive and empowering light.
Exactly. Remind yourself that everyone makes financial mistakes. It's part of the learning process. And focus on the progress you've made and the steps you're taking to improve your financial situation.
It's about cultivating self-compassion and recognizing that financial setbacks don't define your worth.
Beautifully said. And remember that building a healthy relationship with money is an ongoing journey. There will be ups and downs, challenges, and triumphs.
It's not about achieving perfection. It's about, making progress and continuously learning and growing.
And by embracing the emotional side of money, we can create a more sustainable and fulfilling financial life.
I'm curious to hear more about how these emotional patterns play out in Ellis's story. We know he's struggling with, financial anxiety, but how is that impacting his behaviors and relationships?
That's a great question, and it leads us to a crucial aspect of financial therapy, understanding the interplay between our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
So it's not just about identifying our emotions, but about recognizing how they influence our choices and behaviors.
Precisely. In Ellis's case, his fear of financial instability is manifesting in several ways.
For example.
Well, he's become increasingly controlling with money, meticulously tracking every expense and scrutinizing his wife's spending habits.
So even though he's striving for financial security, his anxiety is actually creating tension in his relationship.
That's a common dynamic. His fear is driving him to exert control, which can create resentment and conflict with his partner.
It's like he's trying to protect himself from financial disaster, but in doing so, he's pushing away the people he loves.
That's a poignant observation, and it highlights how these emotional patterns can have ripple effects throughout our lives.
This makes me think about the concept of financial infidelity.
Yes, financial infidelity is often a symptom of deeper emotional issues within a relationship.
It's not just about hiding money or lying about purchases. It's often a way of coping with feelings of, shame, inadequacy, or fear.
Exactly. And in Ellis's case, his controlling behavior could be interpreted as a form of financial infidelity.
Even though he's not necessarily hiding money or engaging in secret spending, he's creating a wall of secrecy and distrust by not being open and honest with his wife about his fears.
That's an important nuance to consider. Financial infidelity can manifest in, various ways, and it's crucial to address the underlying emotional dynamics to create a more secure and trusting financial partnership.
So how can couples like Ellis and his wife start to heal those emotional wounds and build a more collaborative and, supportive financial relationship?
Open and honest communication is essential. They need to create a safe space to share their fears, concerns, and aspirations without judgment.
So it's about moving away from blame and shame and towards, empathy and understanding.
Exactly. And it's also important to establish, shared financial goals and values.
This reminds me of something you mentioned earlier, shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Absolutely. By focusing on their shared vision for the future, they can start to replace fear with hope and create a sense of, shared purpose.
It's like shifting their attention from what they're afraid of losing to what they're excited to, create together.
And that shift in perspective can be incredibly powerful in strengthening their bond and building a more secure financial future.
It's clear that Ellis's journey is far from over, but I'm feeling optimistic about his potential for growth and healing.
I agree. By embracing the emotional side of money and working to understand those inherited patterns, he's taking the first steps towards a brighter financial future.
This has been such a fascinating exploration of the financial genogram and the powerful impact that family history can have on our financial behaviors.
It's a reminder that our relationship with money is, complex and multifaceted, shaped by a combination of personal experiences, cultural influences, and intergenerational messages.
And by shining a light on those hidden patterns, we can gain valuable insights into ourselves and make more conscious choices about how we manage our money.
It's about creating a more intentional and fulfilling financial life, one that aligns with our values and, supports our overall well-being.
And speaking of intentionality, I'm curious to hear more about the practical steps involved in creating a financial genogram. What are some tips for listeners who are ready to embark on their own journey of, financial self-discovery?
That's a great segue. Let's delve into the process of crafting a financial genogram and explore some strategies for unearthing those hidden money messages from our past.
I'm excited to learn more about this powerful tool and how it can help us rewrite our financial blueprints. So how do we actually go about creating a financial genogram? It sounds like a really valuable tool, but I imagine it can be a bit, daunting to start digging into all those family dynamics and potentially sensitive topics.
It can definitely feel intimidating at first, but remember, this is a journey of self-discovery, and you can take it at your own pace. There's no right or wrong way to, approach it.
So where do we begin? Do we need special software or a fancy notebook?
Honestly, all you really need is a piece of paper and a pen. You can start by simply, drawing out your family tree, going back at least 3 generations if possible.
So parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, that's a good starting point to capture those multi-generational patterns.
Exactly. And as you're, mapping out those relationships, start jotting down any financial information that comes to mind. Think about occupations, spending habits, major financial events, even any recurring sayings or beliefs about money.
So like if Grandpa was always talking about saving for a rainy day, or if there were stories about a great aunt who lost everything in a bad investment, Those tidbits can reveal a lot about the family's financial culture.
Absolutely. You might uncover patterns of, risk aversion, overspending, financial secrecy, or even generosity. Those themes can offer valuable insights into your own financial beliefs and
It's
behaviors.
like those money messages become part of the family DNA passed
Yeah.
down through the generations.
That's a great analogy. And as you're gathering this information, pay attention to any, emotional reactions that come up. You might feel surprised, saddened, or even, angry as you uncover certain patterns.
It's almost like you're, unearthing family secrets, even if they weren't intentionally hidden.
Those emotional responses can be incredibly insightful. They can, point to areas where those inherited beliefs might be holding you back or causing conflict in your life.
So it's not just about collecting data. It's about connecting with those emotional um, undercurrents and understanding how they've shaped our relationship with money.
Precisely. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. If you're feeling, stuck or overwhelmed, consider reaching out to a financial therapist or counselor for guidance.
They can provide a safe and supportive space to explore these often sensitive topics.
Exactly. And they can help you develop strategies for addressing any limiting beliefs or patterns that you uncover.
Now, what about those of us who don't have a clear picture of our family's financial history? Maybe there were adoptions, family estrangements, or just a general lack of communication about money.
That's a great question. It's important to remember that the financial genogram isn't about having, perfect information. It's about starting with what you know and being open to exploring the gaps.
That's like a work in progress, a living document that can evolve as you learn more.
Exactly. Even if you have limited information, you can still, begin to map out your financial story. Start with your own experiences and beliefs about money. What messages do you receive from your caregivers, even if you don't know the financial backgrounds?
It's like starting with the present and working backward.
Precisely. And as you explore your own beliefs and behaviors, you might start to, see patterns emerge, even without a complete family history.
And you can always add to your financial genogram as you, gather more information.
Absolutely. It's a journey of self-discovery, and it can unfold in unexpected ways.
So even if your family tree is a bit tangled, don't let that stop you from exploring your financial roots. Embrace the process, and remember there are resources available to support you along the way.
That's a great point to emphasize. We often underestimate the power of simply starting. Even small steps can lead to significant breakthroughs.
And as you delve deeper into your financial genogram, you might discover that some of those inherited beliefs are, serving you well.
Perhaps you come from a long line of savvy investors or, entrepreneurial spirits. Those positive financial legacies can be incredibly empowering.
It's like inheriting a financial superpower that you can use to build a brighter future.
Exactly. But even those positive patterns can benefit from examination. Sometimes we unconsciously replicate behaviors without, fully understanding their origins or potential drawbacks.
So it's about bringing those patterns into conscious awareness so we can choose to amplify them or adapt them to better suit our current circumstances.
Precisely. And for those beliefs or patterns that are, holding us back, the financial genogram provides a framework for understanding and transforming them.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to break free from those limiting narratives
Yeah.
and create a new financial chapter.
And that brings us to a closing thought for our listeners.
What final nugget of wisdom do you have for us today?
I encourage you to, think about your financial legacy. What
Yep.
kind of relationship with money do you want to create for yourself and for future generations?
That's a powerful question. It's about looking beyond our own immediate needs and considering the impact our financial choices will have on those who, come after us.
It's about breaking free from any negative patterns we've inherited and creating a more positive and empowering financial culture within our families.
Well, it's not just about personal financial well-being, but about, generational financial well-being.
Exactly. It's about leaving a legacy of financial awareness, resilience, and empowerment.
That's a truly inspiring goal and a wonderful note to end on.
I agree. So as we wrap up this deep dive into financial mapping and intergenerational money messages, remember that your financial journey is, ongoing.
It's about learning, growing, and evolving.
And with awareness, intention, and a bit of self-compassion, you can create a financial life that is both fulfilling and, sustainable.
And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating world beneath the surface.
Happy exploring. And remember, financial well-being is within your reach.